Hello, it's Rachel and I'm here for my end of April update. Loads of stitching to share. I'm really pleased with how much I've got done this month and still greatly into the Magical Stitches Facebook group. As usual, I'll leave a link in the video description for that if for whatever reason you haven't heard of it yet. So let's go through the projects then. So I'll start probably with the most boring one first because there's not much to see. I mean, the project's beautiful, but the stitching so far kind of boring. This is kitty litter. Yeah, it's those half stitches on 18 count that are 5 strands of floss thick, so that's pretty hard going. This is what it'll look like when it's finished. And the area I've done is over here. I've got below the butterfly. Not sure how many stitches I put into that. Well, I could probably look actually. I got myself organised for, see, I made myself some sheets for homework and for extra credit. If anybody wants these who's doing magical stitches, I did post them in the group, in the main group and in the Slytherin common room as well. But if you do want them, because you can alter them, they're on my Google Drive anyway, so I'm happy to share a link. So kitty litter is what I was looking for. I put in 1078 half stitches, but obviously you need 2 half stitches to count as a full stitch, so it was 578, which is pretty good for that because it is really hard on the hands with those 5 strands of floss. So that's that one. Next one is my Passione Ricamo Fairy Guide. I did a fair bit of work on her. I got all of this wing finished off and took her arms down a little bit more and some work in her dress as well. So she's coming along nicely. And if you want to see what she looks like when she's finished, that is her. So that's that one. Next, my Mirabilia. This one had been neglected a little bit, I felt, well, quite a lot actually, because I was putting off doing that gate, which is with blending filaments. It's a combination of 3 strands but 2 Krynic blending filaments. So I picked her up a few days ago. I've done quite a lot on her. I'm not sure whether it looks that much or not, but you can see the gate there, which it looks really nice. It's just really hard going to stitch on. And then I brought her dress down and I finished the this area on the planter and then finished off sort of rounding it out. These bits aren't stitched, so it's just the background of the fabric colour, and did some work on here, but all below this bow was done in the last couple of days. And down here, her hands, the little garden tool that she's using, and then obviously all this on the gate. So I'm pleased with how she's going. Yeah, I'm making a bit of an effort to work on her. I'm gonna, I think, work on her for the rest of today as well. Not sure exactly how many stitches went into her. A couple of thousand. I used her for one of the ultimate challenges, 2053 stitches, and I didn't actually count the stitches on the gate at all. I think I just gave up counting stitches. So yeah, so well over 2,000 stitches went into her in the last week or so. I've not worked on her for a full week, but it's been Easter holidays, so I've had a lot more stitching time. The next one, again, I've made quite a lot of progress. This is Soda Stitch Pasta Time. I don't remember where I was last time. Did you actually see the bowl of pasta? I'm not sure whether you did or not. Let me scroll that down just in case, because I can't remember. if you saw that, but it looks really good anyway. Well, I think it does. I would, it's my project, I chose it. But yeah, there's the bowl of pasta finished with all the backstitch. Then I did, there's a row of different types of pasta there, so I got all those done. And then I started on, you can't see it now, there's a jar of tomato sauce. Let me scroll it up again. Which, I can't remember what challenge I did that for, but there's a fair few stitches on that. It needs back stitching yet, and there's some tomatoes that go next to it. I'll show you the pattern. And I've just tightened this up again. So the pattern, there we go, that's what it will look like when it's finished. So I have the little tomatoes on a vine to do there, and then obviously there's some quite big elements, and then another row of pasta, and then it'll be done. Love this project, love working on it, love the colours. Really pleased with my fabric choice. It's a 28 count light taupe, yeah, light taupe I think it is, that I chose for that one. Then the next one, I've put quite a lot of stitches in this as well, is my Marjolein Bastin 4 Seasons Collage. So last time you saw it, I'd been working on the squirrel and the broom. Hadn't done any of the leaves, I don't think, or anything else, but I finished that one off, and I've also finished, well, started and finished this element here. So I will show you what that looks like. So let me move the needle minder down a bit. So there's the squirrel with all the leaves. And there's the winter element with 3 little birds. I really love this piece. It's such a nice piece to stitch on, and the detail you get, there's hardly any back stitching at all, and the amount of detail you get is amazing. So I think, well, I don't think, I've been looking at other Marjolein Bastin patterns. I've got a few in my collection. So yeah, starting another one when this is finished might be something I want to do. I'm running out of places now to put these. Okay, let's move that. Then this one, I've only got a small picture of it. This is from a magazine. It is, well, it's made into a cushion on here. I'm not sure that's what I'll do with it, but it's a Susan Bates design of Christmas ornaments. And I think I said last time it's from Cross Stitch Gold, but I don't know which issue because it doesn't say. This has been stitched on a 28 count opal fabric, and I finished that bauble, and I got all the back stitching done. I'm trying to avoid that sun, but I can't really. There's some beads on there as well. Hope the camera can pick that up. But I'm really pleased with that. It looks really pretty in real life. So that's that one. And then next one I've worked on is Cute Witch. This is a digital download that I got from Etsy. The shop is Lola Lotta Shop. She's got quite a lot of patterns on there. She's got well over 1,000. Mostly Russian designers, I think. But what I've found is sometimes you can get them cheaper in other places. So if you visit that website, see if the actual designer has got their own site as well. Some of them have, some of them they have got somewhere to buy from, but it's like on the Russian equivalent of Facebook, so it's harder to navigate and you don't know whether they speak any English or not. But if you can find somewhere that's not on Lola Lotta Shop, they tend to be a little bit cheaper. Just what I've found, because I've got some sort of on wish lists from the same designer. Is that no, the same pattern but from different places, and you know, the cheaper on the designer's own website. Anyway, so this one here, I've worked on for a few challenges. I think it looks a little bit creepy at the minute because the kitten's eyes have just been put in. I needed the dark stitches for a challenge, so it did look really creepy at one point because it just had the black of the eyes and nothing else, and I did some stitching around it, but just bear in mind it might look a little bit strange right now. I think it looks cute. I've got used to the eyes. But I really like this one as well. There's a lot of back stitching still to do. Oh, I'll show my needle minder as well. This one here is one that I made with polymer clay and alcohol inks and foil and resin. But I really like how it looks. I think that's on my other YouTube channel. If anybody was interested in how it was made, I'm pretty sure I've got a tutorial on my arts and crafts channel. I've made a few more needle minders as well actually, but I don't know whether we've passed them already. If we have, then you're not going to see them. Anyway, carrying on. The next one is dimensions. This is 12 Days of Christmas. Last time I had finished the top 4 and I'd done some of the 5 gold rings, but I hadn't finished it. And it didn't look like there was that much to do, but when I sat down and stitched it, there was, yeah, a fair bit to do. But I've done a lot on here as well. I think I have. So I've done the gold rings and the geese are laying. And because we needed to stitch on, I think it was a plant or a vine or something, I did all the holly for that row. So that's quite a lot. But yeah, pleased with how that one's going. Again, I just want it finished for the end of the year, but that was my goal at the beginning of the year. But I think I might be able to get this done faster than that. It seems to be moving faster, because if it was one block a month, that would be June, wouldn't it? And we're not in June yet. So I'm ahead on that one still, which is good. Then I've got 2 more that you haven't seen because they're new starts. This is what Magical Stitches does to you. So for one of them, I needed something with a building on, I think. I can't remember why. Oh, I needed it for 2 reasons. One was for extra credit. You needed a map or street scene, and I said I was going to start this one in my last video. And also I used it for a homework challenge as well, where you needed a building. So this one, oh, this has one of my needle minders on that I made. I've done quite a lot on this one as well, I think. No back stitching yet, and that's my needle minder that I made. That's out of shrink plastic, but it works quite well. I think it could do with some varnish on, because I think the colour pencil, which is what I used to colour it, I think some of that may be coming off, but it will take 2 minutes to put some varnish on. But I really like this. It's going to look really nice once the back stitch is on it as well. And then the last one is another new start. This one is Berry Tea, which is another digital download. Now this is an example of one that I'm not sure whether you can get this one in particular on Lola Lotta Shop, but you can get a lot of her designs, and there is a website you can buy directly from, and it's in English, so you don't need to pay the prices on Etsy. I mean, they're not massively lower, but because it's the designer's website, they are a little bit lower, and she has special offers every now and then as well. So anyway, that is how this one looks. So I've done, yeah, a lot of work on this. I would say this is halfway almost. There's quite a lot going on at the bottom with fruit and leaves and things, but about halfway I'd say. Again, not backstitched. And there's another of my little needle minders that I made. Again, that's a shrink plastic. And that is all my stitching. I'm so pleased with how much I've got done. It is because I've been off work for Easter, so that makes a huge difference. But I added up my stitches, apart from, as I say, I didn't count the stitches on the gate for my lady's garden. I very rarely count the back stitches for any of the challenges because I find them too difficult to count. So just the crosses, I did for extra credit, and there was a pop-up event, and I did 3 ultimate challenges as well. That came to 6,718 stitches. Just on homework during April, I did 11,192 stitches, and there's still one homework to go, which starts tomorrow. But so far my total stitches is 17,910. So I don't think I could have stitched any more than that. I literally have stitched as much as I can during Easter holidays. So yeah, that's great. I'm really happy with it, and I really feel like I'm making progress on everything. I don't know whether it necessarily shows on videos, because when there's a month between, you kind of forget where things were at. But when I look at, because I've had to take photos for Magical Stitches and I can see where I was and where I am now, I can see there's quite good progress. So I'm hoping next month, I'm hoping to have finished something. Next week's homework, the last homework for Year 3, it's only a 2-day homework because April obviously finishes in 2 days' time. And you've got to take your smallest whip. We had to put a whip list up on the group. Smallest whip, which for me I think is this one. And you have to stitch as much as you can on it, and you get 1 point per 100 stitches. And if you finish it and fully finish it, you get 50 extra points. So I don't know that I can get that finished, because I don't know, 2 days, there's a lot of back stitching to do, even if I got through the stitching. But I love challenges like that, so I'm going to have a real good go at it. If that is the smallest, it might be that this one is. I'm not sure, because this one has a smaller stitch count if you just times the width by the height, but it's full coverage. And that one has, Berry Tea has a longer, where's the stitch count? Yeah, it's longer, slightly longer, but it's shorter, but it's not full coverage. So I'm thinking, I don't know, I'm thinking it's that one that's the smallest one. Anyway, whichever one it is, I don't know whether I'm necessarily going to count all the blank space to see whether Berry Tea is necessarily exactly smaller or not. That sentence didn't come out right at all. You know what I mean? You know what I'm trying to say. Yeah, I don't know whether I can count the blank stitches and figure out whether it is actually smaller. That's what I meant to say. So last thing, I actually did some shopping this month, which I haven't done for the longest time, haven't bought anything. And yeah, I splurged a little bit. I think once you've spent money on something, it's very easy to keep spending. So probably, well no, I didn't buy more than I intended. These are things that have been on my wish list for a good while, so I'll share them. So the first things I bought some digital patterns. These have been on my wish list, and I've not printed all of them out, but I'll just show you the ones I have printed out. I got 6 in total. And I got these ones because they were having a 20% discount of this designer, and I can't, Anna somebody, it's Russian, I assume. But they have these doors. There's 4 in total, 1 for each season. So this is the spring one. I printed out my 2 favourites. That's the spring one. And this is the autumn one. And then the other 2 I didn't print out. There's a winter one which is more Christmassy, and the summer one which is probably the most boring of all of them. It's still a really nice design, but I don't know, it's just not as bright as I would have thought for summer. Anyway, then also I got this one, same designer, which I just really liked that. I really like Halloween patterns, but it's very rare that I see any that I want to stitch. And the last one, this one wasn't on offer, it was a different designer, but it had been in my wish list, so I just bought it. I just think that's so cute. A little mouse in a teapot. So yeah, got that one as well. Then I bought some kits, which again, they've been on my wish list for ages. And you know, I think some of these have been on my wish list for maybe a year. And I've just been kind of watching them on eBay and Amazon. Just eBay, where did I get them from? Well, this one's definitely from eBay. Anyway, I just bought it. I knew I was going to buy it because I'd been watching it for a year. In fact, no, I don't think I've been watching this one for a year. I think it's some of the others. But I've been watching it for a good few months, and I really wanted it. It's a Luca S kit. I don't think it has a name. I don't see a name on it anyway. I just thought that was gorgeous, and I'm not going to change my mind on wanting to stitch that. So that is that one. And these, if you've not seen them before, they come with anchor floss, and it's on 20 count Ada, which I think is quite unusual for kits. It's usually like 14, 16 or 18, but I don't think I've got any with 20. Then the other ones I got, I can't remember what, oh, I know where I got these from. Arts and Crafts is where I got these from. I was watching them on Amazon, and I found them cheaper on Arts and Crafts. So, and these are ones again I've been watching for several months. So they're all by Mirabilia, which is a Russian brand. So there's this one here with, it's a kind of Christmassy, with birds in a watering can and poinsettia and apples. And that's on a ice blue Zweigart Ada. And then the other ones, I kind of had to buy 4 because the seasons, and what I didn't want to do is buy 1 or 2 and then not be able to find the others because they were out of production. So yeah, it was a little expensive to buy that many in one go, but I've got them now. So these are like seasonal samplers, and I just adore them. And they have, so there's the main piece of fabric, and then the little elements are separate pieces of fabric which you stitch on, and I've never seen that before. So there's little bunnies, there's a house in the middle of all of them representing whichever season. So this is obviously spring, but how cute. Really love that. Then the next one is summer. So this is the same kind of idea with the separate pieces of fabric. So this one has a little butterfly, the house again in the middle, obviously the gorgeous focal flowers, and then look at that little deer, so cute. So that one was summer. Then this one is autumn, and I love the colours in this, really pretty. It's got little ladybird and an acorn and cute little fox. And the last one is winter. So that is everything. And they're all on slightly different fabrics. This one is on ice blue. This one is on, I think they call it cappuccino. Which, I don't know, there's Zweigart fabrics, but I've never seen a Zweigart fabric in the colour cappuccino, and I did look for it to see if they had them in even weave, which apparently you can buy these in even weave, but I can't find them anywhere. I would have bought them with even weave if I could, but I've seen some of the other designs they do, vintage flowers. There's roses, lilies and poppies, which are also on my wish list, and I've seen those in the linen for sale here, but I've not seen these ones. I think this one's on like an ivory, the summer's on an ivory and the spring is on white, and then the little pieces that you sew on are in slightly different colours so they stand out. But I thought that idea was really interesting, to sew on the bits of fabric, so we'll see how that works. That's everything, I think. There's, yeah, I don't think I've got anything else. I talked about this last time. I was gonna do a bi-weekly update, but it's just too much hassle to get all my projects out. I know there'd be less projects. I don't know. I seem to spend a lot of time taking lots of projects out, taking all the patterns off, making sure the needles are secure, and then finding all the patterns to, you know, so I can show the patterns as well, and then having to put everything back. It just seems to take a long time, and time is precious, right? Could be stitching. So I didn't do that. It doesn't mean I'm not going to in the future, but yeah, I didn't do that. It's but of course now it means I've got twice as much to put away. But hey ho, it's one of those things that you either enjoy sharing it or you don't, and it's part of the process, I guess. So plans now then. I know everybody's talking about Stitch Mania, and I just can't. I've got too many things on the go. I don't have any frames left, and I don't take my things off the frames. You might have noticed. Once they're on till they're done. Maybe that's because I'm a little bit lazy. I don't know. You just get your project, and you know, with the fabric stretched how you want it, and I don't want to mess about with that. So yeah, they just stay on. So I thought about it. I thought about doing new starts for that, and I just thought, you know what? I've started 2 new things this month. Last month I started a couple of new things for Magical Stitches. I don't have any frames, and I probably would need to buy thread and stuff, so I'm not doing Mania. I will enjoy everybody else's Mania though. If there's anybody watching me who is doing Mania and you have a FlossTube channel, feel free to share that in the comments. Or equally, if you're doing Magical Stitches, and I don't know who I've subscribed to be honest, I just subscribe to that many people. But yeah, share links to your channels if you have a FlossTube channel, or particularly if you do the same types of projects that I do. So if you love Mirabilia, if you love anything with nature or botanical or floral, dimensions kits, Mereshka, I love Mereshka kits, even though I've not stitched one yet, Russian designs, anything like that, or if you know of somebody who's got a channel with those types of things, then feel free to post that, because I always find I'm not struggling to find people to watch, there's loads of people to watch, but struggling to find people that enjoy the same types of projects that I do. So although I watch a lot of people, obviously you prefer to see people stitching on things that you might want to stitch, because, I don't know, because then you get an idea of what a project's going to be like, you know. So a lot of people I find tend to stitch the more primitive designs, and that's not really my taste. So although I can enjoy other people's, I would never stitch them. So anyway, kind of rambling now. Yeah, so not doing Mania. I will have a new start though, I think, for next month, because year 3 of Magical Stitches ends, which means year 4 begins, which is the Goblet of Fire. And since I joined the group, I was like looking forward to when we got to the one where there's a possibility of a challenge with mermaids, which will be Goblet of Fire because of the Great Lake. And I've got Enchanted Mermaids by Mirabilia, and it's been fully kitted for over a year. So my aim is to finish something that's on a big frame, like the Marjolein Bastin 4 Seasons, and then I can start the mermaid. That's the plan anyway, to finish something so I can start the mermaid. And that's the one that's on a big frame that's closest to finishing. So I'll be starting that. No other plans really, just carry on stitching on everything else and see what the challenges bring. If the challenges mean I've got to start something else, then start something else. I'm at 12 whips now. I think I had 5 at the beginning of the year. So anyway, I'm loving it, so it's all good. Right, gotta go, that's the door. Alright, see you soon.